Welcome to Anything podcast with Gilbert. I am here with I hope I pronounce your name. Let me get this correct.
Yes.
Amina Mara, is it?
Yes.
Cool. That's fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm great. I'm pretty much excited. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, me too. I'm happy to be here.
Cool. Thanks for doing this again. Thanks for doing this. So yeah. I hope we have a good time. But anyways, we could get into it. I'd like to first start. We're going to just dive right into it. I want to first start with who you are, basically, before we can get into talking about lucid dreams and stuff like that. Who are you in specific? And how did you get into lucid dreaming to a point where
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, my name is Amina, and I started having lucid dreams when I was a kid. Like I was like really young, like 5 or 6 or something like that.
yeah,
So I always thought they were cool. I didn't really know what they were. I would just like realize I was dreaming and then wake up.
yeah.
And I always thought they were interesting. And then I studied psychology in college and I started like researching dreams and consciousness more. And so and then I started realizing that people induce lucid dreams and it's something that you can get better at. It's like a skill that you can practice. So I started writing my dreams down and just paying attention to them more. And I met like a community of people that also do dream work and are into dreams. So that really was really interesting for me to learn and start teaching people what I know about dreams and stuff. So that's when I started the podcast. I have my own podcast about dreams. And I even, studied dreams and researched dreams and stuff like that. I wrote my master's thesis on lucid dreaming. So I've just been really into it. And I love talking about it. So now, yeah, I pretty much teach people how to lucid dream and just make content online about dreams and, share dreaming
What
and
what
stuff
what
like
did
that.
you study?
So I studied psychology, and then I also studied like childhood development and memory, and I kind of just sidetracked into some of my own research on like dreams and just started, doing my own experimenting and building a community and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm just kind of seeing where it takes me because I find it really interesting, and I think the science behind dreaming is still very new, but it's starting to take interest in like the academic world. So I'm hoping to kind of pursue that more.
So your interest is basically from a young age, or is there like a specific moment in which that just almost sparked a thought about dreams and stuff?
It is basically from a young age. Like I always thought it was interesting. But it wasn't till I was like in college and I started, I don't know, just thinking more about what I wanted to do. And I started studying psychology and I thought it was really interesting. And then I just wanted to know more about dreams for some reason. I guess it was always in me, but it kind of woke up in me later, like when I started just going out into the world, I guess. But yeah, I always thought dreams were cool and I always had lucid dreams. So they're always very like close to my heart.
Oh, that's how do you I know what lucid dreaming is, and I've done a bit of research, right? So maybe for people that are almost new to the term, maybe could you like put it in your own terms of how you define what lucid dreams are or lucid dreaming?
Yeah, so a lucid dream is when you're in a dream and you're aware that it's a dream. A lot of people think it means you can control the dream, which is part of it, but lucid just means you're aware that it's a dream. So that's a spectrum. You can be aware that it's a dream, but you can't control the dream. You're just going along with it. Except for the differences in a regular dream, you think that it's waking life and you think it's normal. You're just like, whatever. But maybe you're a little confused and you notice something's off. That could be semi-lucid, all the way up to fully aware that it's a dream. You can control the dream. You can do anything you want in the dream, change aspects of the dream, which is what a lot of people want to do in a lucid dream. When you start to practice and get better at it, you can do anything you want. You can fly around, you can talk to people, you can just, experiment with things, practice skills even. So there's a lot of things you can do with it. So yeah.
Oh, I thought being aware it's a dream and then being able to almost decide what you want to do in the dream was like a major part of it. So this is almost you telling me that's almost like a small part of it.
So it is a major part of it. I mean, doing anything you want in a dream is pretty much what it's like when you're lucid for most people. But what I'm saying is like being lucid, the word lucid just means you're aware. A lot of people think dream control is a separate skill, which you get better at it naturally by practicing lucid dreaming.
Okay.
But you can be lucid and not be able to control the dream. Like you're just going along with it, but you try to do something and it doesn't work, or you're just going along with the dream. And lucidity is a spectrum. So you can even be kind of lucid where you're aware it's a dream, but you can't do anything, or you kind of forget it's a dream again and you go in and out. So it's more complex than people think, but the goal is to be able to do anything you want in a dream. And if you're lucid, you can pretty much, practice doing it. A lot of people have short lucid dreams because, like me, when I first started having them, I would just get excited and wake up really quickly. So I didn't even have time to do anything I wanted to do. But the more
Yeah.
you practice, you get better at it.
Sure, that's almost happened to me a couple of times where you do realize this is a dream and then maybe have some sort of control, right, with where the dream goes, and then the next thing is you're awake. It's like, so I hear you. What do you think is the importance of lucid dreaming, though? Is there like a specific thing you've gotten into saying this is why everyone should do it, or you're not advocating for everyone to do it, or are you?
I am. I mean, I'm advocating for everybody to pay attention to their dreams as a whole,
Oh,
not
okay.
just lucid dreaming. There's so much within dreams. But I think I do want everybody in the world to experience a lucid dream at least once because it's really
Yeah.
awesome. And there's not one specific reason. Like the reason I advocate for it is because like there's so many things you can do with it that depending on what issue you're having in life or whatever goal you're trying to achieve or anything, even if you just want to have fun and find some happiness or whatever it is in life that you need to work on, lucid dreaming can help you do that because it's a really good way to work with your subconscious without your logical mind and the constraints of the waking world. So it's a really good way to like work with your mind and heal things inside of yourself, and just work through things. So yeah, it's really beneficial. Whatever you need, there's something that you can do in a lucid dream that might help you feel better. So there's so many things you can do with it.
Would you agree with me if I said it's almost I could think of it as an escape, because if I'm then going to dream and then decide how the dream goes, it's almost like maybe my highest fantasies I've had, like I've been thinking about this certain thing, and then now I have the chance to almost live exactly like that in a dream. Do you think we could
Yeah,
consider
for
it as a
sure.
distraction?
I mean, it could be in a way. So I've done things like that, and people do it a lot. Like, you go through your dream house and drive your dream car and live all
Yeah,
your wildest fantasies in a lucid dream. People
yeah.
do it all the time. It's a fun thing to do. And, a lot of people start lucid dreaming, myself included. Like when I started trying harder and stuff to have lucid dreams, it's because they're depressed. They're in like a negative place in life and they want to escape and find something better and like, go fly around other whatever, just like have something experience something better, and you're not attached, you're not like in your physical world. So it's like you're in a fully immersive VR video game. So yeah, it's definitely can be seen as an escape. But what I've found is that like when I'm lucid dreaming and working with my dreams and having all this fun in my dreams, it for me, it's made me appreciate my life more and it's healed me with a lot of things.
Okay.
And it's kind of like, if you believe in like visualization and stuff to like manifest things or whatever, which people do, lucid dreaming is kind of like that, you're just like having fun, living out your realities. It makes you happy in life, and maybe it'll help you guide you towards those goals so you can have them in waking life if you're able to bridge the gap. So, it can help in that way too. It's just about how you use it. Like anything else, it's like a tool.
Cool. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. So when I was doing a bit of research, I didn't want to come here empty-handed in my head or stuff like that. I was doing a bit of research, which I've done before, is maybe how to get into it, right? For people that haven't experienced it. So what do you have for a bit of techniques to get into lucid dreams?
I would say start with writing down all of your dreams. This is like a foundation because you have to remember your dreams, and this is going to
Okay.
build your dream recall because you can have lucid dreams and just not remember them. And also, it's just step one basically. Start keeping a dream journal.
Okay.
And then there's different techniques you can try, and different things work for different people. So it's going to take a lot of trial and error. So already know that, you know, you're gonna have to practice like going to the gym. You can't just do it one day and expect to have abs. You got to go consistently all the time. Like it's a part of your life, right? So same thing. It's a skill that you work on. And so then you can also have like, it's good to have a plan. So like, what do you want to do when you get lucid? Have that like in your head or write it out or whatever. Because that dream plan is going to prevent you from like getting nervous and waking up when you get lucid. You're going to have like an idea in your head of what you want to do. So you can, it's good once you're lucid. So have a plan and then experiment with different techniques. Like there's experiments like, there's techniques like wake back to bed where you just wake up in the middle of the night, set an alarm, go back to sleep, and have like intentions to lucid dream. Intention setting is like a big thing. So if you have a night routine, incorporate that in there. And it really incubates what kind of dream you're going to have. And another thing I like to do is reality checks, which basically you do them throughout the day and start questioning if you're in a dream or not. And if you do them right, then eventually you'll do one in a dream and realize it's a dream because something weird will happen in the dream. Um, so those are just some techniques. I can go into them deeper if you want, but there's a lot of techniques online that you could do and just try and read about. And you just really start experimenting. That's what it's all about, is like building your own practice, find what works for you, because what works for one person might not work for another. So you really got to practice depending on your sleep schedule. Are you a light sleeper, heavy sleeper? Like, there's different techniques for everything. So there's so many ways to lucid dream. But keeping a dream journal and start paying attention to your dreams and building that overall lucid awareness in your waking life is going to really make a big difference. Like that'll build the foundation. So yeah.
Cool. That's profound. I've read a few techniques. As I was doing my research, I read of this guy that suggested you try to put a sock on your right foot, right? And then once you're in bed, I think your brain is able to tell which one's colder and then which one's hot. So that, I don't know, but like I hear you. So maybe let's do you think dreams mean something though? Because if you're then going to advocate for lucid dreams, I'm sure you find dreams important and all that. I don't. So I'm here to learn. I'm here to hear what you have to say.
Well, first, I want to say that the things only have meaning if we give them meaning. A lot of things, like
Okay.
life in general.
Yeah.
But like, I do think there's different types of dreams. Obviously, everything happens for a reason, but I think there's like types of dreams where it's just your daily life processing things, like you see something and then you dream of it, or you're processing things you're going through. That's normal. Our brain is like thinking about things we're going through and thinking about predictions for the future and like how things might go, preparing us for things. That's just a normal process of dreams. And then, the bigger part of that question, which is like, oh, could dreams be bigger messages? In a lot of ways, yes, because it's your subconscious working with you, even from a scientific standpoint. Your brain is working through things that your conscious mind is not actively thinking about or able to work on, or maybe you're not able to make creative connections because you're thinking in a logical way. Your subconscious mind, while you're sleeping, is able to form those new connections and think about possibilities and work out solutions. That's why people like sleep on it or like study before they go to sleep, and then they wake up and they, learn the material better, because that's what happens to our brain when we sleep. It's part of this purpose of dreaming. And then in a more like spiritual standpoint, people do have dreams that help them in like a spiritual way, and they get messages from angels or ancestors or people that have passed. So yeah, that's also very common. Like I said, so it's just depending on the meaning you give it and what's important to you is the type of dream experience that you'll have. So whether you're scientific or spiritual, dreams can help you and they can give you meaning. It's just about if you care about it, if you pay attention to it. It's a third of your life that you spend asleep. So it takes the conscious effort to pay attention and see what messages you get. Like an internal therapist, you can have meaning if you talk to that therapist, but if not, then, you'll be okay either way.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Are you spiritual yourself? Are you religious?
I would say spiritual. I grew up Catholic and stuff, like, my family. But me personally, I'm just consider myself spiritual. I'm kind of like part of my thing is to bridge the gap between like science and spirituality and kind of like, show the connections there. So yeah, I'm just kind of on my own journey.
Cool. Yeah, and the Bible does have a few takes on dreams, so but I won't get into that if you don't get into it. You're the professional here, so I would rather you spill out your knowledge. So what you're saying is right now, journal dreams, for me to just that could be a first step is for me to just write down all my dreams every time I dream, for me
Yeah,
to get
for
into
sure.
it.
Yes, definitely. And there's a lot of ways to do that. You can do it on your phone, on a notepad. And yeah, when it comes to dreams, I'm down to talk about anything. Like even the religious stuff, like I don't care. Like, like you said, the Bible does talk about dreams and things like that. So there's dreams for everybody, for every religion. Like it's not like, confined to one person. Everybody can write down their dreams. And a lot of cultures for like centuries have been doing it. So yeah, it's definitely a good place to start.
It's a good place to start. Yeah, that's true. So is there like a so let me get this straight. So when you start to lucid dream constantly, right? Is there what happens after? Because I'm thinking all I need is like a week of lucid dreams. I think then I would have gone through a bit of a lot. So is there like a need to constantly lucid dream, or should you then try to rest a little from the process?
There's not a need. I mean, you can still get your normal rest even when you're having a lucid dream. You're not missing out on REM sleep. But some
Okay.
people do get bored. Like if there's nothing you feel like doing, or if you
Yeah.
just go along with the dream, um, there's no need to have lucid dreams all the time. A lot of times, once you start writing down your dreams, you'll have spontaneous lucid dreams here and there anyway without even trying. So you can still have a dream plan of things you want to try because there's always going to be something we want to do, right? At any point
Yeah.
in life, whether it's now or 5 years, there's always going to be something you want to work on or practice or experience or things you want to do, and your lucid dreams at any point in life is going to
True.
offer you like a creative outlet to be able to do that. So there's always going to be something, at least for me. But yeah, people get bored and they're like, oh, I just don't really care for it or feel like it. And even so, after you've had a lucid dream or a few lucid dreams, you'll
Yeah.
start to have them randomly without even trying. So you don't have to try all the time and make an effort to. But for me, even when I'm not doing techniques and trying things, which I don't all the time, I'm always at the very basic writing my dreams down just to keep the foundation. And also because my dreams are very important to me, not just lucid dreams, but all of them. I think they all have a benefit and things like ways to help us. So I do that. But everybody's different. Not everybody cares about their dreams that much.
True, true. So how do you can I ask you this? Do you constantly lucid dream, or like you're
Um,
able to turn that off and just go to have a normal sleep, or like it's
you can
constant?
go. It's not constant. Like I don't, I'm not lucid in every dream. Some people
Okay.
are. So there's a term called omni, which means you're lucid in every single dream ever. It's very rare, and yeah, it can be kind of stressful or weird, and they can't turn it off necessarily.
Mm,
It's like a certain constant awareness.
yeah,
But for me and you and like most people, it's not like that. You'll have a lucid dream if you try, or once in a while, maybe a few times a week or a few times a month. I have them like maybe once or 1 to 3 times a week, depending. And I could probably induce it if I wanted to. But I just let it happen naturally. And I'm just into my dreams all the time. So it just happens a lot for me. The more you think about dreams, you'll have them. But
okay.
even sometimes in the same dream, you'll become lucid and then you'll go back to normal dream, or the dream will end. Like just because you're lucid doesn't mean every dream is lucid. No. It's more like a gift that randomly comes and you
Comes
appreciate it
in.
for what it is because it's just really cool and you just roll with it.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So you almost just touched like a type of lucid dream. Can you get into it if there are several types to it?
You mean like the Omni, like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
people that
yeah.
are
Yeah, so
so this is more so like a type of person. Yeah, this is just people that some people are lucid in every dream they have.
yeah,
Meaning
true.
every time they go to sleep, every time
I
they
see.
dream, they know that it's a dream. There's no such thing as like for them at least, oh, you just have a dream and you know how you think it's waking life and you're like, oh, then you wake up and you realize it was a dream. They
Yeah,
know it was a dream and they can usually control it and do things, which sounds really cool for people that want to lucid dream. You're like, oh, that's my goal. I want to be lucid in every dream. This is so fun.
yeah.
But there's pros and cons to it. I mean, I did a podcast episode on it with somebody who did. And yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. Like everybody dreams differently. Some people dream in first person, third person as a different character, different dream character. Some people dream as themselves. Some people dream in black and white even. So like we all dream differently.
So am I the only one that has this conception of so is there like a profound event in a lucid dream that almost always stands out? I think I've noticed even the videos I've watched on the topic, they talk so heavy on swimming. Like it's a different experience when you swim in a lucid dream. So is there like a thing? in a lucid dream that we could say, ah, okay, everyone experiences this.
I mean, it's hard because every dream is different, right? Every person is different. Like if I do one thing in a dream, it might feel different than in your dream on a different day. But there are a lot of things that people experience commonly in dreams, like flying is something that people love doing. Swimming is amazing. Everything feels awesome in a lucid dream. You have your full, it's like a VR game with fully immersive sensations and everything. Like you can touch, smell, taste, everything, right? So it's like that. Like everything would be fun. You could go to Japan, you can go swimming in with piranhas and you'll live and like whatever, like you can do anything you can think of if you try. So like everything just feels cool. Like I can't think of what else. I have actually a list which I'll send you the link, but you can find it on my website. It's the ultimate list of things to do in a lucid dream.
Yeah, let's
And it's
talk about
like
that.
just
Let's yeah,
yeah, you should pull it up. Let me
let's
put it
get
in the
it.
chat.
Yeah, yeah, let's get
You're
into
gonna
some of
love
those.
this.
Yeah, let's get into some of those.
And I actually like wrote this with a lot of just lucid dreamers in my community. We've been adding to this list. So
Okay,
if
okay.
anybody's a lucid dreamer and they have ideas, they can always add to it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
let's
so it's
get
just a
into
list
it.
of
I'm going through this list and it's huge. I'll probably put this link in the Spotify, I'm sure. Uh, is there like a specific event you've experienced through your lucid dreams that almost was profound? Like one specific thing that even if you had to decide, let me lucid dream tonight, it's something you go to instantly.
There's a couple dreams that I would definitely go back to, but
Okay.
even some of my profession, like not my most favorite, most profound lucid dreams were just like I appreciate them for what they are. I don't know if I could necessarily replicate them because it was like so beyond me. Like I've had dreams that have like healed me and like taught me things. I've had dreams that have like come to pass in real life exactly how they happened in the dream. And then
Can we
like
talk about a few? Can we talk about a few?
yeah,
Yeah, sure. Tell
yeah,
me a
so
few.
there's been a few. Sometimes it's happened to me a few times actually. Sometimes it'll be something very random. Like one time it was like the way that I was at work and the way people were standing and somebody said something. And then it didn't happen till waking life, till it happened the exact same way, like down to where people were standing and what they said. And then when they said what they said, it was like the punchline. I realized that this weird moment it was in the dream, but it was a really random moment. So like it's not like I was able to think about like, what it would mean or anything like that. I just took it as like, I don't know, alignment of like dream and waking life. But sometimes it'll be something bigger. Like one time it was like an entire day
Okay.
that happened in the dream. And there were aspects of the dream that were very similar to like everything I did that day, like the people I was hanging out with, where I went that day, down to like in the dream, somebody gave me like a necklace. And then in the same part of the wake of the day in waking life, they gave me a necklace. And it was just very random. So but it's crazy because a lot of times people will also have like more I guess useful premonition dreams where it'll warn them of like somebody dying or somebody being born, which I had a dream that my friend had a baby and then like a week later she told me she was pregnant.
Hmm.
um
Okay.
what else? Yeah, things like that happens to me like quite a lot,
I don't
honestly.
know. Okay, okay. That makes a lot of sense. Is there so you spoke of dreaming it and then it happens. How do you then differentiate all that stuff with is it deja vu?
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, I mean, so deja vu is kind of the same thing, but it's like you don't realize until it happens. So maybe you dreamt it, but you forgot that you dreamt it, right? Because most people don't remember their dreams. But when deja vu is a thing, it's like something happens, like we're talking, and then you're like, wait a second, I feel like I've been here before. But you
yeah,
don't really know if it's a dream or if it was like what, like you just don't really understand how to explain that feeling, right? So I
yeah.
think that it could be that maybe you dreamt it and you just forgot, but deep in your subconscious mind, the dream memory is there. Or it's just because like everything that we're doing like on a bigger scale of life, like I feel like everything just goes in a time loop and happens at the same time, which is kind of hard to explain, but like time is just not what we think it is. So like we think it's linear, but it's really not. So sometimes we get confused and um but yeah, but when you have a premonition dream, it's like you specifically remember the dream. I know I had this dream. I wrote it down and everything. And like I was comparing the dream to waking life and like it was exactly the same down to what people say and what they do. So like it's crazy. And you specifically remember it in the moment versus a deja vu when it's just like, I think I dreamt about this, but I don't know.
Okay, so I have you specifically just ventured into like looking into lucid dreams or dreams in particular because I'm about to ask just regular dreams and stuff. So I don't know if that's also part of
Yeah.
your.
Oh, yeah. I do it all. I love dreams in general, so you can ask
Okay.
me anything.
Okay, so then what do you think happens when someone forgets their dream? Or feels like they never dreamt a thing?
Yeah.
Is there like one or two things you can give out that could, you know?
There's a lot of reasons. For one, a lot of people don't remember their dreams because they don't try to and they don't care to. So like anything in life, like you grow things that you pay attention to and care about, right? That's what your mind puts its energy towards. So for one, a lot of times if you have like trauma or something emotional blocking you that you haven't worked through, people won't dream after that. So a lot of times I tell people to think back to the last dream you do remember having and what time of your life was going on, what was going on at that time of your life, that kind of stuff. So our dreams can be blocked for like kind of like a subconscious defense mechanism or to tell you to work on something. And then when you get through that thing, your dreams will come back. Another thing is if you smoke weed, you probably won't remember your dreams. I mean, everybody's different, but most people, because it suppresses your REM sleep. So that'll probably stop you from remembering your dreams. But most people that say they don't dream, they probably do. They just don't remember it. And a lot of times, if you just wake up a little bit slower instead of jumping out of bed to your alarm and going about your day, you might remember your dreams if you stay there in the same body position for a minute and just let it come to you. Or just do any of the other techniques, start a dream journal, start trying to remember your dreams, even just start thinking about dreams and wanting to remember your dreams, you'll start to do it more. So if you don't dream, you can dream. You just have to work towards it. Dream recall is a skill as well. So there's dream recall, which is remembering your dreams. And there's
Yeah.
another skill, which is lucid dreaming. And then dream control is a skill. Like all of these are kind of skills, like going to the gym. There's a lot of little skills within that one skill. So yeah, it's different brain muscles, I guess.
Okay. Okay. That's that. I hear you. I hear you. So could we say you've mastered the art of dreams yourself to a point where once you dream, you sort of can analyze it? I don't know if I'm getting too spiritual or
No,
something
for
like that.
sure. I mean, the more, yes, you can. Like the more you do it, the more you get better at it. Then you become an advanced dream worker, lucid dreamer, whatever. Like, yeah, for sure. You study your own dreams, you get more in tune, you'll understand them better, you notice patterns. It's a life hack. Like you can become a master of your own dreams. The better you get at lucid dreaming, you'll be able to stay in the dream longer and do whatever you want, even if you get lucid randomly without even trying. You'll be able to, do whatever it is you want to do. So yeah, you can, and it just takes practice. I think anybody can. Just takes practice.
Sure. Is there just a side note? I'm sure this Zoom will cut out. It's been almost 40 minutes, but we're going to reconnect just after that. So
Okay.
I'm trying to go through your website. What do you have on here that can help every listener to just like do stuff on here?
I have a lot of like free stuff on there, like that list I showed you, and just some
Yeah.
other blog posts. And I'm gonna keep posting stuff. I have a lot to upload of just techniques and things to try. I also have like things you can pay for, like coaching, like one-on-one. I do lucid dreaming coaching, and I have like an online course that I did. Where it's like everything from like basic dream recall to lucid dreaming, dream analysis, understanding your dreams, advanced lucid dreaming stuff, all of that stuff. So I have like the whole spectrum of like learning everything there is to know about dreams, basically. And then yeah, I also do like I go live sometimes just talking about dreams and answering questions and talking to people. We have like a community on Discord and we do voice chats all the time, like once a week on Clubhouse, usually on Tuesdays. So we do a lot of things. There's a lot of resources and ways to get involved and learn how to lucid dream. And then I have like a million videos online, like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. You can learn. Like I put all the information out there that I can. Um, and I also have a lot of scientific studies on there too. There's a blog post with like books, like a book suggestion, movie suggestions about dreams, and just other things that are beneficial, not just dreams, like other mental health beneficial things. And I'm even adding some like if you're into the evidence, a lot of research on there and studies that have been done. So yeah, I'm constantly adding to it.
Okay. Could we get into maybe a scientific proof or researchers that have gotten into lucid dreaming or dreams in particular that you can like,
Yeah, there's been some amazing studies. Like one of my favorites they did in the lab, and I can send you the link too after.
Sure, you
It's
can put it in the chat, maybe.
yeah, let me search it really
Oh yeah,
quick.
explain it. I'll go off what you say.
Yeah, I'll explain it too, and then I'll send you the link. But
Okay, okay.
so basically, what they did in the lab was they got lucid dreamers and they brought them into the lab and they went to sleep and they became lucid and they taught them certain things to be able to signal that they were aware in the dream. So, for example, like muscle twitches, and there are certain things you can still do when you're lucid dreaming. You can control your body in small ways. So, like muscle twitches and like moving their eyes back and forth, like, simulating REM sleep. And so, what they would do was you can also, when you're dreaming, you can still hear things and hear things from outside. Your senses are still active in a way. So they went to sleep, and then the experimenters signaled to them certain questions, and also like simple math questions, and things like that. Like they would be speaking and doing like sounds or something like that. And then from inside the dream, the dreamers reported later when they woke up that they would hear the experimenters' questions come through the dream. One time, like one of them was in a dream in the car, and the experimenter's question came through the car like a radio. And in another dream, it came through like a God speaking out of the sky kind of thing. So the experimenters' questions, they heard them and it incorporated itself into the dream. So they would ask simple math questions like, I don't know, 1 + 1 or 2 × 2 or whatever. And then from inside the dream, the lucid dreamer would recognize the question, however it were to manifest into the dream, and they would do the signal back, like the eye twitches or the muscle twitches or whatever it is. They would do the signal back, answering the question. So like 4 twitches to answer 4 or 2 + 2, whatever. So then they would answer the math question or whatever the question was. And then the experimenter, basically, the cool thing about this experiment was that they were able to communicate from across the border of consciousness. Like the experimenter was communicating with the person while asleep. So they were lucidly aware in the dream and able to
Okay.
do that. So that's just really one example of one. And there's been so many other cool ones, like about
Yeah.
people studying skills in a dream and actually getting better at the sport in waking life because they practice it in the lucid dream. Um, and those are just a few of my favorites, but there's a lot of research
Sure.
on it now, and
Can you
people
can
have
you
found some cool things.
can you get into that a little bit more? How are
Yeah.
people perfecting skills or stuff through lucid dreams?
Yeah. So when you're lucid in a dream, it's like, so you're literally practicing it. You're like, you don't have the constraints of waking life. For example, there was a ski team and a gymnastics team was two of the studies I was reading. And
Okay.
they went into their dream and they were lucid dreaming and they were on the slope or whatever it is. And they were practicing their moves. And when you're doing that in a dream, your brain is actually registering this as practicing because it's well known now that visualization helps you perfect things because you're visualizing yourself doing it. Well, lucid dreaming is like that times 10 because you're not only visualizing it, you're experiencing it, you're feeling the snow on your snowboard, and you're feeling when you fall, and you're feeling your muscles moving, and your brain is registering those muscle movements, and it's actually forming neural pathways. And your brain is lighting up almost identical when you're lucid dreaming to the way your brain waves are lighting up when you're awake. So it's very similar brain activity. And your brain is actually, making neural pathways and remembering the muscle memory. So you practicing and getting better at it in your dream, and then they woke up and they would measure their performance, and the ones that would practice in their dream performed significantly better. And they've even tested this out with like small things like math tests and other little problems. They had people go in their dream and do it, and of course the ones that did it in their dream performed better.
That's profound. So I'm trying to stick a little bit more on like the scientific uh part about it, just in case someone has doubts. It's I don't. I personally, it's something I looked into a couple of times, but failed to get myself to be a constant lucid dreamer. So I just gave up on it. Like it's not really something I want to put so much time into. So I gave up on it. So could we maybe also continue on the scientific side to it? Can can you give us more info on that?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of research on it now. I mean, we understand a lot of like the brain activity that's going on. Like I said, when people are lucid dreaming, their brain activity is very similar to the brain activity when they're awake because you're
Mm.
consciously there paying attention to something and you're present consciously. You're not just, asleep. You're there looking around, knowing that you're inside a dream. So you're awake basically inside your
Sure.
dream.
Sure.
So it's very interesting in that way. And our brain is actually working on things and processing things. Even when we're not lucid dreaming, our brain is doing that. Like that's
Sure.
kind of like the purpose of dreams, like I was saying earlier. Um, and we also know that dreams are thought responsive. This has also been studied, which means that when you're in a dream, it whatever you're thinking and feeling, the dream is going to reflect back to you a lot of times. So that's why you're able to control the dream and snap your fingers and change the dreamscape and stuff like that. So, if you're thinking scary thoughts and you're getting scared, your dream might turn dark and scary. If you're thinking happy thoughts, your dream might be happy. So that's kind of just like a function of dreams
Sure.
that we've
Is
noticed.
is there like a specific name of a guy that first pioneered lucid dreaming, or is it stuff we just randomly came upon and there's no specific figure we can look into?
So there is a few. The timeline is the first mention of lucid dreaming is back in like even I think Aristotle talked about dreams, and
Mhm.
obviously we have Sigmund Freud and Jung, and the ancient Egyptians were doing dream work. So it's long, like it's an ancient practice. People have been lucid dreaming forever. But the first kind of like scientific names, the first like official study done on lucid dreaming was Keith Hearn. It's a very
Okay.
popular study. You can Google Keith Hearn and find his PhD research online. I think that was like in the 70s, 60s, 70s, something like that. 69 was it? But that was the most famous because he kind of kickstarted it in science. And then there was Stephen LaBerge, who was the next big name. He wrote a couple books and started doing research on lucid dreams back when nobody was talking about it, when nobody was even looking into this at all. And then there's a lot of authors that started around that time. Robert Wagner wrote a lot of books on lucid dreaming, and does a lot of work with it now. He started in this like 70s. I had him on my podcast too. He's really cool. He's like still
Really?
doing dreaming work. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
And so, yeah, a lot of the people that started doing lucid dreaming research in the 70s, they're still doing it now. There's like a international association for the study of dreams where they get together and, show all the latest research and things like that. So they have a conference every year. So yeah, there's a lot of research on it now. It's just about if you care about it, you can look it
Sure.
up. It's all there.
Sure, sure, sure. That's cool. So how do you mentioned dream analysis is like one of the services you're offering on your website, right? So
Um,
how is it?
Kind of. It's not like a service that I offer. Like, I don't tell people what their dream means, right? What I do is I help people learn how to understand and analyze their own dreams because the dreamer knows inside what their dream means. I can't tell you, like, oh, dreaming of a snake means this because one person's snake definition is totally different than another. And a dream symbol is meant to be your subconscious talking to you, and only you know yourself. I don't know your experiences in your life, so I can't tell you what a dream symbol means. But I'm going to teach people, like there's a chapter in my course about dream analysis. Yeah, it's a whole section.
Okay.
But I don't offer like, oh, you pay me. There are people that are really good at interpreting dreams, and I can send people that way that I work with that they're good at helping people understand their dreams. But it's not like, oh, this is what your dream means. It's like this is how you look at dreams. We're going to ask you more questions. I do dream circles with people, and like I do help people analyze their dreams, but it's more like that, like working with them on the dream, asking them clarifying questions, asking for associations, asking them about their life. It's like a little session, a back and forth. And then I would say something like, well, if it were my dream, maybe you can look at this or offer perspectives, but I never tell them like this is the ultimate saying because it's like you as the dreamer have the ultimate say and you can take my perspectives and like use it for your own dream analysis, but the dreamer has the ultimate say. So when I say I do dream analysis, it's more so like teaching about it and like I do it one on one, but I make sure to tell people like you have the ultimate say. Don't take what I say as the ultimate say. I'm just here to help you, if that makes sense.
Definitely, definitely. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. What are there a few services you could get into just in case a few of the listeners want to like get into your website and then look through the courses, and can you tell us a bit
Yeah.
more on the course? Yeah, yeah, sure.
Yeah, so it's one main course. And then on the website, like you can go to a link. It's $90, and then you have unlimited access to it forever. And that pretty much has everything in it. It has the basics of dream work, how to get started. It's all videos, like all PDFs. There's different, depending on how you like to learn. There's like audios, meditations, and then also research studies. If you want to read articles, we have all the PDFs with even some free audio books in there. Like you get a lot of content with it. There's like 3 full books in there on lucid dreaming that you get with it. So you get a lot of things with it. Then there's lucid dreaming from the basic stuff, every technique. You can keep track of everything you've tried. And then you have like a dream analysis section, which will teach you everything you need to know about analyzing your dreams. And then you have a liminal dreaming section, which teaches you about the in between phases of sleep, like how to have dreams in between and other types of dreams, like sleep paralysis and what to do about that. There's a section on nightmares and what to do about that. There's something in there for everybody. And then there's advanced lucid dreaming stuff, like having more profound experiences and out of body experiences and meditations. So there's a lot in there that you get. It's like a year's worth of content. The week is meant to be like 10 weeks if you really dedicate yourself to it like all the time. But like, I understand there's life and stuff. So if you go through it at your own pace, you'll have content for like a year.
Sure.
So, and in addition to that, you can join the community. We have like group chats, and it's just really awesome to get involved with lucid dreamers. So you get like a lot out of it. And people that have taken my course, like, it's pretty much guaranteed, like you're going to learn how to lucid dream because I'm going to help you. Like anybody that signs up to my course, I'm going to talk to them one-on-one. Like I'm going to do a whole form and see exactly what works for you. And you're going to find what works for you. The point is to build like a personalized dream work practice. So that's the main thing, it's like one big service. It's like just join and I'll help you pretty much one way or another. Like even if you don't have to sit there and watch all the videos, like I'll
Sure.
help people one on one. So yeah.
Oh, that's pretty informative. You mentioned something that got me instantly. So how do you on the nightmare part of dreams? Is that scientific, or how do you look into that? Can I get a few things
Yeah.
from you on that? Yeah.
Everything about dreams is scientific. Like we pretty much have been able to study a lot of it, most of it even. So nightmares happen for a lot of reasons, and a lot of times they reflect your waking life, um, mood and mindset. So if you're anxious and stressed and depressed, you're more likely to have negative emotions in your dreams and dream about things that you go through in waking life. If we have things that in our life that we've gone through, you're going to dream about it until you kind of work through it and heal it. So that can be very traumatizing for people. And a lot of times there's this threat simulation theory of dreams, which means that, our dreams will prepare us for stressful events or potential threats in our waking life. It's one of the purposes of dreams, but it can manifest as nightmares because we're preparing for things, even if it's like seems stupid, like being naked outside or whatever, being late for a test, things like that. Our brains are preparing us for things, especially things that are important to us. So we're like thinking about all these possibilities. It's like a very advanced algorithm, like that. Our brain is always working like that to think about possibilities. So our dreams manifest in all the scary possibilities that we don't want to happen, like losing people or getting lost or getting chased. These are all very common nightmares that a lot of people have because a lot of us have the same anxieties, especially around COVID time. A lot of people were having like apocalyptic pandemic dreams. So we all kind of, there's like a collective form of dreaming where we all kind of dream about things we go through that a lot of people can relate on. But if you do have nightmares, lucid dreaming has been like a lot of scientific research on using lucid dreaming for nightmares and PTSD victims, like stuff like that, patients. Because when you become lucidly aware in a dream, if it's a nightmare and there's a monster chasing you, you know it's a dream. So for one, you immediately lose the fear. Usually, you can turn around and say, "Hey, why are you chasing me? Like this is my dream. Get out." And then boom, they never have the nightmare again. And this has been proven a lot. It's called lucid dreaming treat therapy or lucid dreaming treatment for nightmares.
Ironically, I have gone through a phase where I've had a few nightmares, and it's almost like I know this is a dream, right? So it's almost like I've gotten to a point where nightmares are almost like non-existent because every time it's like you foresee they're about to happen, right? So it's almost like, wait, I didn't intend for this to happen in the dream, and this is my dream. So I
Yeah,
hear you. And that's why I think
exactly.
yeah, and that's why I think I got into a bit more research on why that was happening. I remember there was a constant period in which I had a few nightmares for some reason, right? But I kept on, waking up and like, wait, I know this is not it, so I hear you on the nightmare
Yeah,
part. Yeah, so
exactly. Nightmares are a good trigger for lucidity because sometimes I'll be like, oh, I never feel this scared in waking life, so it must be a dream. And then I've trained my brain to know, like, every time something this scary happens, it must be a dream because, how often am I being chased by tigers and monsters or, whatever. So it can help in that way.
yeah, that's true. And then another thing you also touched on was sleep paralysis. I I've I've basically not looked into this, but I know what it is. But like personally, it's not something that made so much sense. Every time it's almost like I'm very uninterested. Could you maybe explain it in a more professional way as compared to the few knowledge I've gotten from people I've spoken to?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of people experience this, myself included, but
Okay.
it's scientifically understood. So every night when we go to sleep,
Yeah.
our body paralyzes itself naturally, like everybody. You don't even realize it because you go to sleep, and our body protects itself by not being able to act out your dreams. So we paralyze our muscles, and certain things happen. Our eyes move back and forth when we're in REM sleep. So it's like part of the process of falling asleep. But then sometimes when your mind is kind of awake, and then your body starts to fall asleep, but we're kind of in this in between phase, which I talk about in my course. It's like one of the in between phases of falling asleep. So your body falls asleep, but your mind doesn't. So you're aware of this. And it can be really scary because you realize you can't move and people freak out. And like I was saying before, it's thought responsive. So we start freaking out. The dream gets scarier. You see some people think they see like dark, scary figures or they feel energies and things like that, which is very common. Um, and it's just part of having nightmares, and part of the collective fear around sleep paralysis. If you're scared of sleep paralysis, you're gonna have a scary time in there. But then once you become an advanced lucid dreamer or you start practicing lucid
Yeah.
dreaming, which is also what I teach, then it's not scary anymore because you're like, oh, I know what's happening. This is normal. And then you turn the sleep paralysis into a lucid dream, and people like roll out of their bodies and go about the into a dream from the sleep paralysis experience. So it really becomes a launch pad for lucid dreaming, but it can be really scary if you just fight it and try to resist and don't know what it is. So another like cure, I guess, for sleep paralysis is to just embrace it with love and like tell yourself positive, loving things or say a prayer or whatever works for you. It transforms the experience and it turns into a positive dream. And then you allow yourself to fall asleep. So yeah.
That's profound. Okay, I hear you. I hear you. So I'm thinking we're almost out of time, but let me hear your thoughts on REM sleep. Uh, so I get less of it. I've been wondering how much REM sleep is considered fine, and then is there a few things you could suggest that people could maybe get better sleep or dreams or
Yeah, for sure. I have a section too in my course of sleep hygiene, which is like things you can do to sleep better.
okay.
Um, and when it comes to REM sleep, it's like it really depends. Every person is a little differently, about how much energy they use and how much rest they need. But for the most part, our body goes through sleep cycles, right? Where you have
Yeah.
non-REM sleep and you're more awake, and then you have deeper REM sleep. So
Yeah.
you should go through at least a few of those cycles a night. So I would say they say from like 6 to 8 hours of sleep is ideal for most people. Um, so in order to feel, fully recharged. But honestly, we that is us adapted to like the workday schedule of like 9 to 5, work during the day and sleep at night, Monday through Friday. Some people, if you have a different lifestyle and it works better for you to sleep in like 4 hour chunks and then be awake for 4 hour chunks, or split your day in half, in a different way. There's other ways to get rest throughout the day. Like you don't have to stick to that schedule, although it's kind of what we're accustomed to now in society. It really is about what works for you. As long as you get enough sleep and you go through enough sleep cycles in the day where you feel recharged for how much energy you put out there. Um, and then there's also other things about feeling rested can also depend on like how much light is coming into your room. Like, do you have a good temperature to sleep in? Like, do you have a peaceful sleeping scenario and a good night routine? Things like that. If you're watching like TV and eating and doing all these things in your bedroom all the time, it's going to be hard for your brain to associate your bed with rest because it's going to think it's doing all these other activities. So there's a lot of things you can do to kind of make sure your brain gets calm and gets good rest at night. REM sleep is part of that though, so it's good to get enough hours throughout the day or throughout the night even. Some people need to take naps throughout the day, and if that helps you feel fully charged, that's also really good and can be good for lucid dreaming too. So just yeah, get enough sleep and then we're all going to be better people if we sleep enough.
Is there like an explanation of why when we dream it almost feels very short, but we've had like so much of sleep? Maybe you slept for 6 hours and it feels like you almost slept for just like three and dreamt for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, dreams can be very short, and a lot of times, like even if dreams only last a
Are
few
they
seconds,
short?
even,
Okay, okay.
well, they can be, yeah. Even if they last a few seconds, it might feel like you were in the dream for an hour, but it's only been a few minutes. So it's like kind of like a thought. Your brain doesn't need a lot of time to produce a dream, but in your head, it could have been like, oh my God, I had this long ass dream, but then you look at the clock and it's only been 5 minutes. Or the other way around, like dreams don't really have a time. But for the most part, they're shorter than you think. But when you're in the dream, time doesn't really exist. So it could feel like 5 minutes and it's really been an hour. Like it doesn't like match up that way. But for the most part, we can dream in any phase of sleep, but we get most of our dreaming done in REM sleep. Like that's when we have the
Yes.
longest dreams. But you can still dream in the other phases of sleep. So it just depends. Like I said, there's different types of dreams, and non-REM dreams are shorter and more boring for the most part.
True, true. Now that's pretty amazing. So before we end it, can you I always like to ask everyone this. What are like five things you can't live without? Physical things, that is. I always like to end it that way. It almost gives like an insight in what the person is like.
Yeah, that's a good one. I would say my family. What else? Physical things. My house, where I
Two,
live.
two.
Maybe like
Small
my
sentimental
my
somethings.
phone.
Phone is an essential.
That's a big one. Small
Yeah.
sentimental things. I'm sure I have a lot of them. I don't know. I'm pretty simple. I
Right
don't need that many
right
things.
now. Okay, okay. The phone makes sense right now. What other things can we take away from you and you're not the same?
Mm, my car
Okay, those are essentials. Those are
and food.
essentials. The food,
Can't
those
live
are
without
essentials.
food.
Sure, sure. I hear you. I hear you. So maybe you'd like to give us a bit of like your social media handles, your podcast name, so everyone that listens can also just like flock onto it to like get more info and stuff.
Yeah, sure. Well, you can find the dreamworldpodcast.com, and you can find that on Spotify or all the podcasts, YouTube, the Dreamworld Podcast. I'm also on TikTok and Instagram. And if you type in the Dreamworld Podcast, it should show up. But it's all on my website, so it should be pretty easy to find.
Sure, sure. That's pretty cool. So thank you so much for doing this. It's been quite informative. So thank you so much again. And yeah, that's pretty much it that I had. We've pretty much talked about everything I needed to know. So thank you so
Yeah.
much for doing this again.
Thank you so much. It's been fun.
Yeah, it's definitely been fun. So if I have anything to ask or anything, I'll surely text you or something. But thank you for doing this once more.
Okay, sounds good. Bye.
Yeah, all right. Thank you very much.